Today I wanted to talk about inflation based on something Trump said yesterday. A reporter in Georgia at an event asked him if he would acknowledge that the economy is improving is a basic fact that we all know to be true. Jobs, inflation, any measure you want to look at it, stock market. She just said, "What do you want to acknowledge that the economy is improving?" He said no. He would not acknowledge that. He said inflation is killing us. It is not. Let's just start there. Actually, I looked at some data for the BLS, Bureau of Labor and Statistics, and they do a 12-month rate. So how much inflation has gone up over the last 12 months. And right now for all items, most recent month, we're at 2.5% inflation. That's in the target range of what the Fed wants it to be in. And last month, 2.9%, at 3% before that. It's been coming down. It was at a high of 8%, 9% back in June of 2022, 2 years ago when this started. And keep in mind, this inflation was caused by a number of things, supply chain shocks that came up during COVID, and then $3 trillion injection in the economy for COVID relief for businesses and for people. And also just good old-fashioned gouging, companies just charging more than they needed to once all that stuff was settled. And we know this because in recent months, we've been seeing companies like Target just saying, hey, across the board, we're going to lower prices by 5%. Well, nothing changed in their business. People just stopped buying stuff because inflation was so out of hand for so long. People just couldn't afford to buy things like food to make at home or clothes. Gas prices are usually out of our control. Those are global geopolitics stuff, influence those more. But, things like food are what I hear about. Talking to someone last weekend, and I leave names and relationships out of this. And the argument was, well, what about food? What about the inflation is still so high on eggs and milk? And I just had to say, it's not. Like, I know you're hearing that. I know your news channel is telling you that. I know Donald Trump is telling you that. But it's just flat not true. And I vaguely told them over the last several months, like I've done here. And I decided today to put some hard numbers to this. 2.5%. That's the 12-month inflation rate, the most recent one we have. It's the August numbers, which came out in September from the Bureau of Labor Statistics. From the BLS. And I think it's only fair to look at where it was, because Trump always takes credit for his great economy, where it was just before COVID hit. I think we can all agree on a common set of facts, which is that COVID really hit here in the U.S. in March of 2020. So let's go back to December of 2019. 2.3% inflation, and then 2.5% in January 2020, and 2.3% again in February 2020. The 2.3 and 2.5%. Those are in the months before COVID hit, and now we are at 2.5%. We don't have inflation anymore. It's just a fact. So when asked yesterday to acknowledge the improving economy, Trump said, no, inflation is still killing us. And it's not, it's just a flat lie. We all know this. And I looked at, okay, maybe people are confused about their experiences, because inflation isn't just inflation. It's broken down into food, apparel, gas, oil, all kinds of things. I think an important one that people they see every day, or maybe not every day, every week at the grocery store, when they go buy and their milk and their eggs and their fruit and their vegetables and their cereals, that's just food. And the BLS calls that food at home. They have food away from home, so eating out, and food at home. And the food at home rate, inflation, is actually only 0.9%. That there's just, that is the runaway thing where when inflation started running away in March and summer of 2022, that item, food at home, that hit 13% during some of those months. 13.5%, 13%, 13.1%. That was just that was the shock going back 2.5 years. And that those were for the factors. You know, we had the avian disease where they had to slaughter all the millions of chickens. That's the one that stuck out in people's minds were the cost of eggs. Again, Biden has nothing to do with that. Trump has nothing to do with that. That's just something that happened in our U.S. food supply. And that came down back when, you know, that same December 19 to February 20 timeframe under Trump, food at home, that was 0.7 and 0.8%. It's 0.9%. So inflation just doesn't exist anymore. So it's just lies. He knows this. He has nothing to back it up. The jobs report, I mean, it's annoying for people that want the Fed to be scared into lowering interest rates another 0.5 point in about a month instead of another 1/4 point. But the jobs are killing it right now in a good way. People are employed, and he says they're not. He says jobs are terrible. And he specifically said because of all the illegals coming over and the illegals are taking all the jobs. He just says that. There's no reality to that whatsoever. But that's what he says. So for the majority of you who watch this channel, you already know this. I'm just giving you some hard numbers to back it up. But for those who are only here for the the debate in the comments and to tell me that I am a partisan hack, that I don't know what I'm talking about, that I'm making this all up. I'm not. Go to the BLS.gov, look up this stuff, inflation report, CPI is what I'm looking at. It's just government data. Now what Trump has done is, what has he done to you? He has made you distrust the government. You can't trust anything. You can't trust the media except for his media. You can't trust the government except for his government officials before he turned on them. You can't trust anyone unless they're on Trump's approved people who you can trust list, which does not guarantee that they will remain on that list. At any time, he can turn on them. Whenever they open their eyes and start to realize what they've been doing all along, and they very quickly just snap right out of it, like so many people have, then he'll turn on them. Then it's I don't know him. I have never met him before. I have had a lot of pictures with a lot of people. The Lev Parnas documentary. I don't know. I know a number of you recommended this documentary from Russia with Lev, and it was kind of tough for me to find it. And I looked it up, and it said it was on NBC streaming. It said it was on Hulu. It said it was on various platforms, and I just kept striking out. And I feel like I have every platform in the world to stream things on. I checked Hulu, but it said you need to have the Hulu Live, which is way more expensive than just basic Hulu. I mean, it's crazy. I have the Peacock app, which I've had for some NFL playoffs and then the Olympics. It's not on that, even though Peacock is NBC. So I had to get a specific NBC app, and it's about a 2-hour documentary. And I got to watch it for free because this NBC app gives you 3 credits for starting off, and this one, and it doesn't cost anything. I didn't have to put in a credit card or anything. It was 1 credit, I guess, to watch this, and I just, did the screencast to the big screen. And it was amazing. Lev Parnas is just one of those names that you you would know just floating around in your brain for all the Ukraine corruption, and he was a thug, and he was a whatever you think he is. You have to go watch this documentary. It's amazing. It changed my opinion of the guy. Yes, he's still. It was funny, the title of him on the little, when it would show his face on the screen, it would say Lev Parnas, hustler. It's not. I don't think that's an official job title or occupation or vocation. Well, maybe it's a vocation for him. He's just a guy who's always run with mobsters, with killers, with organized crime, with illegal everything, going back to when his family came over from Ukraine in the 70s, and he was 11 years old. He went to Brooklyn, I think it was, but then he eventually, he's been everywhere, and he's been associating with all of the wrong people all of his entire life, culminating in Trump and Giuliani. And he has his personal documentation of things, pictures and recordings and stuff, were a third of the evidence in his Ukraine impeachment proceedings, which he was impeached on. The guy, and he's tried to make amends with people whose lives he wrecked with his efforts, and I highly recommend that video, that documentary From Russia with Lev, if you can find it. So back to inflation. Just wanted to give you guys some numbers to when you're talking to people, and they will keep saying we have inflation because Trump keeps saying we have inflation. It's flat out not true. It is down. Inflation in general, really everything across the board, all these categories, and specifically food at home category, it's exactly what it was months before COVID hit here in March. So kind of end of 2020, or end of 2019 into the beginning of 2020 is exactly where Trump was at. So, and that's why we have the ray of hope here, super bright ray of hope. That's the thing that was going to win him the election, I think, if anything. And it's not now, because inflation's not going to go up again in the next month, or months. It's behind us. It's in the rear view mirror. So that's a very encouraging. And that's it for a Saturday. Wanted to throw another good note out to you guys, and we will talk to you later.